Hello there and welcome to the BBC Sports Centre for our look back at the year in sport.
After 2013 gave Great Britain a first male Wimbledon champion in 77 years, 2014 had a lot to live up to.
But, as we're about to show you, it did just that.
Chance for Goetze! Mario Goetze scored for Germany! That's a goal worthy of winning the biggest final round. Manchester City, Premier League champions for the second time in 3 years. Can he go out in style? Brian O'Driscoll, in his very last game for Ireland, can celebrate. Ireland are the Six Nations champions.
The defence of Murray's Wimbledon crown is over.
Rory McIlroy.
The champion. 3 great championships under his belt. That's the way the Finnish Ryder Cup is won by Europe.
Beautiful load by Lizzie Arnold. She's going to win the gold medal. Lizzie Arnold is the Olympic champion. Oh my goodness. It's a golden floor routine for a golden girl.
Lewis Hamilton is the 2014 world champion.
Thank you so much, guys.
Well, there's only one place to start a review of the year, and that's the event of the year, the World Cup in Brazil.
Van Persie! Oh, what a fantastic goal!
England faced one of the toughest groups, and after an opening defeat to Italy, Roy Hodgson's men had to get a result against Uruguay. Yet they succumbed to a familiar foe.
It's Luis Suarez! And Luis Suarez has thumped it in! You can't give him that sort of chance. Uruguay 2, England 1.
England out in the group stage then, their worst World Cup performance since 1950. And Luis Suarez was soon on his way home too, after receiving a 4-month ban for biting an opponent. And while the reigning world champions Spain exited early too, what of the hosts Brazil? So much hope, so much pressure, but they had Neymar and they'd reached the semi-finals. What followed was perhaps the most stunning and devastating result in World Cup history.
Absolute humiliation.
Brazil 1, Germany 7, a nation numbed. But for the Germans, knocking out the hosts was just a stepping stone. Not even a Lionel Messi-led Argentina could stop them. Mario Götze's goal enough in a final watched by 1 billion people. And you can watch a full review of the 2014 World Cup over the festive period right here on BBC News.
On the domestic football scene, champions Manchester United were a constant source of discussion. Having taken over from the iconic Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013, David Moyes then presided over the club's worst ever Premier League season. The pressure was relentless for nearly 10 months before the deed was done.
The dream job that turned into a nightmare. Manager David Moyes is sacked by Manchester United.
But a new season brought new hope to Old Trafford, with Louis van Gaal, the man who guided the Netherlands to the World Cup semis, taking over. And he has set about establishing a new era. But nothing could hide what was an awful 2014 for United. And to make matters worse, 5 miles across Manchester, City were having another super season. Having already won the League Cup, the Blues were also involved in a classic title race. They, Liverpool, and while the Premier League trophy was clear success for City, for Liverpool to finish second was a breakthrough for Brendan Rodgers' side. Their striker, that man Suarez again, was the league's top scorer and winner of the PFA Player of the Year award. Yet after his controversial World Cup bite, he was snapped up by Barcelona for £75 million. It wasn't that long ago that Arsenal were after Suarez, and Arsene Wenger's side secured their first trophy since 2005 in May by beating Hull City. A 3,283-day wait was over.
And the FA Cup treated Arsenal well in 2014. Their women's side also won it. It was the cue for manager Shelley Kerr to leave. And by going on to become the first woman to manage a senior British men's team, she made history. The Liverpool ladies were history makers too by retaining the Women's Super League, but only just. They trailed Chelsea and Birmingham going into the final day, but thanks to results elsewhere, the Reds were able to snatch it on goal difference. On the international front, England's women showed the men how to do it. They finished their World Cup qualifying campaign with a 100% record to reach Canada 2015. Scotland's women won't be there though after losing in the playoffs. The Scottish domestic season had a familiar ending as Celtic won their 45th league title, a final success for departing manager Neil Lennon. In the League Cup, Aberdeen were the victors, while Scottish Cup winners St Johnstone won their first major trophy in 130 years. And what of Rangers? Demoted to Division 3 back in 2012, in 2014 Newcastle owner Mike Ashley increased his control at Ibrox, while the team also secured another promotion and are now just one league away from renewing rivalries with Celtic. And while a return of the Old Firm derby is an event to really excite Glasgow, over 12 days this summer the city came alive thanks to the Commonwealth Games. Indeed, in the year of a vote for Scottish independence, this was the country's biggest ever sporting and cultural event, and Glasgow duly showed us just how good the Commonwealth Games can be, with big crowds, big names and big performances.
Scotland takes the silver. And Amos has got what it takes. He's going to take the gold medal.
Ewan Burton, that was superb. The 13-year-old from the Shetland Islands. I think she's got a bronze. Oh, that is utterly brilliant. Utterly extraordinary.
Oh my goodness, she's got her onto her back already. And the hand comes down onto the mat. The Nigerian has done it.
And Paddy Barnes takes up a second successive gold medal.
This evening in Glasgow at Ibrox, incredibly, it's not New Zealand, it's South Africa.
Sheer joy for Malawi. They have defeated South Africa 53-45.
Claudia Fragapane, surely it's a golden floor routine for a golden girl.
There is Usain Bolt, the subject of a few headlines over here this week.
I'm a fun person. I love to have fun. Look at me.
So this is for the gold medal.
And it's so easy.
Breathtaking gymnastics. Every single move was never in doubt.
Ross Murdoch is going to take the gold for Scotland. Utterly brilliant swim.
Unconfined joy expressed by Nicola Adams. The Olympic champion had just become the Commonwealth Games champion.
There you go, outstanding gold for Daly.
But here comes Bolt. Bolt's got the baton in his hand, and Usain Bolt streaking away. Thompson chasing England down, but Usain Bolt takes the title.
Well, there was no place for Usain McBolt, as the locals had named him at the European Athletics Championships, but there were many other world-class performers, including Mo Farah, as the double Olympic champion became the double European champion too. And there was another brilliant Brit in the form of Jo Pavey. 10 months after giving birth and at the age of nearly 41, she became the oldest female European champion in history.
Jo Pavey has finally come of age. She is the champion.
Can't believe it. Just thanks to everyone supporting me. Gav, you know, my little girl Emily, my little boy Jacob, mum and dad, Gav's mum and dad, everybody that's helped me, my brothers. Like, yeah, I can't believe it. I'm speechless, really.
Yet Pavey is a woman of the road as well as the track, competing over the marathon distance too, and over 36,000 others did the same in London this year, although some found the going tougher than others. 8 days later, Boston held its annual marathon, but the scenes were much more sombre as the event marked a year since the Boston Marathon bombings. On Valentine's Day 2013, just 2 months before that Boston attack, Paralympic champion Oscar Pistorius had been arrested for shooting his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp. It was a story that gripped the world. In 2014, Pistorius stood trial and, while cleared of murder, received a 5-year prison sentence for culpable homicide. Well, there was another event that had the eyes of the world watching in the autumn. It took place here at Gleneagles, the 40th Ryder Cup, as rivalries were renewed. Well, having been stunned in the Miracle of Medina 2 years prior, the Americans, captained by Tom Watson, wanted revenge in Scotland. Would Paul McGinley's Europe stop them? They made a good start, but in the afternoon foursomes, the home side's strongest pair, world number 1 Rory McIlroy and world number 3 Sergio Garcia, were 2 down with 2 to play.
Come on, Rory, up the tier. He has, he's done it, right into the heart of the hole. Knew something had that for Rory and eventually finds the bottom of the cup.
But after McIlroy holed that beauty to take the match down the final hole, playing partner Garcia then launched a superlative shot from the rough to help halve the match against all the odds. And it was a finale that buoyed the European team on Saturday, as an overnight lead of 5-3 would become 10-6. And going into the final day's singles with 14.5 points to target, Europe did it again.
What a fight that from McDowell. Brilliant. Oh, wow. It's 3 up, 3 to play. Is a dandy, isn't it? It's a real dandy. Is it a real dandy? It is. That's the way to win a match. That's the way to finish.
But that success was only part of a magnificent year for Europe's leading light, Rory McIlroy. Despite a much publicised breakup with tennis star Caroline Wozniacki, on the course he was supreme. The 2-time major winner doubled that tally in 2014, claiming the PGA Championship and the Open Championship.
Savour the moment. Tap it in. The champion.
The Open is the one that we all want, the one that we all strive for, and to be able to hold this claret jug is an incredible feeling. I'm glad to be their champion this year.
In the women's game, there was significant success for America, including a maiden major victory for Michelle Wie. 9 years after turning professional at the age of just 15, amid enormous publicity, her potential was realised. Andy Murray's potential was never in doubt. The first British male in 77 years to win Wimbledon has already secured his legacy, but this past season it was tested. After undergoing back surgery in September 2013, Murray didn't win a title or beat a top 10 player for over a year. Yet, in June, he walked onto centre court as defending champion and seemed inspired as he breezed through to the quarter-finals. There, though, he met one of the game's rising stars, Grigor Dimitrov, and his winning streak on the Wimbledon grass ended in straight sets. And the disappointment would continue until the autumn, when 3 titles materialised for Murray and he qualified for the ATP Tour Finals in London. Novak Djokovic won that, and he was also one of the 4 different men and 4 different women who won the majors. But there was no sharing of the prizes in the women's wheelchair doubles, as Jordan Wiley won all 4 titles in 2014 and became the first Briton to complete a calendar Grand Slam. And it was a successful season for the Great Britain Davis Cup team too, as they reached the World Group quarter-final for the first time since 1986. Yet that achievement was put into perspective in May when former British number 1 Elena Baltacha died of liver cancer at the age of just 30.
In rugby union, the year kicked off with the Six Nations, and going into the final match, Ireland, England and France all had a chance to take the championship.
France 20, Ireland 22, Ireland the champions.
So Ireland's first title since 2009 and a fitting send-off for the retiring Brian O'Driscoll. Yet England's women did something O'Driscoll could never manage in his career, a World Cup win. In August, they took on all comers at the 12-team tournament in France and left as champions. And from a set of Rugby World Cup winners to a solitary figure who kicked England's men to glory in 2003. But 11 years later, Jonny Wilkinson announced his retirement too, but not before retaining the European Cup for French team Toulon, a final swan song in Cardiff on British soil for one of England's finest. But Wilkinson's joy was but the latest disappointment for Saracens, who also lost the Premiership final to Northampton Saints. Exeter Chiefs won the Anglo-Welsh Cup, while Leinster's dominance continued as they retained the Pro 12 title.
Wigan Warriors almost did the same in Rugby League's Super League. The 2013 champions chased down St Helens all season before the two slugged it out one last time in November's grand final. No one expected to see this kind of slugging though, as Wigan's Ben Flower was sent off after 2 minutes for punching St Helens' Lance Hohire. Flower would receive a 6-month ban, the longest in Super League history, but the damage had already been done as St Helens made their extra man count to take the title. And that all Lancashire Grand Final had been preceded by an all Yorkshire Challenge Cup final. Leeds against Castleford, and it was the Rhinos who charged to victory. Just 3 months before that final, Wembley witnessed another spectacle. Over 80,000 people attended the rematch between Carl Froch and George Groves, and it was Froch who retained his super middleweight world titles in stunning fashion.
An overhand right from Carl Froch, and it is all over. He is still the world champion.
Floyd Mayweather remains boxing's biggest name though, and the American was the highest paid sports person in the world in the last 12 months. 72 minutes work, $105 million.
There was nothing box office about England's cricketers at the start of the year. Just as 2013 had ended, 2014 began, with another crushing test defeat to Australia. And after returning home from a 5-0 Ashes whitewash, someone had to take the blame. And it was that man.
Kevin Pietersen's England career is over. The 33-year-old batsman, England's leading run scorer, was informed this weekend by the England and Wales Cricket Board that he was no longer part of their plans for the future.
But one of England's finest ever batsmen had his say in October, releasing an autobiography that claimed, among other things, of bullying in the England dressing room. The national team continued without Pietersen though, and former head coach Andy Flower was replaced by Peter Moores, but a change doesn't always do you good. Defeat to Sri Lanka in June had many calling for the skipper Alistair Cook to be sacked. He wasn't, and subsequently sailed his side to calmer waters with a series win over India. He was dropped as one-day captain though, and misses the World Cup. He'll have to focus on another Ashes in the summer. England's women already have the Ashes. They went down under in January and retained the prize before becoming full-time professionals in February and rounding off their year with wins over India and South Africa. The future looks bright for Charlotte Edwards' side. Yet cricket faced some dark days in late November as Australia Test batsman Philip Hughes died after a bouncer hit him on the neck during a domestic match in Sydney. He was 25.
We must dig in and get through to tea. And we must play on. So rest in peace, my little brother. I'll see you out in the middle.
In cycling, reigning Tour de France winner Chris Froome never got near retaining the yellow jersey as the monster of the mountains in 2013 crashed out early. And while Mark Cavendish fell by the wayside too, he still got the chance to ride in his mum's hometown of Harrogate. Why?
Because in 2014 the Tour de France came here to Yorkshire with the world's top riders tested through these very dales, and over 2.5 million people turned out to cheer them on.
Indeed, the county set the tone for the 3 stages that took place on these shores, and by the time the riders reached their final UK destination of London, it was on to France they would go. From pedal power to horsepower now, and the sport's standout race, the Grand National, as 25-1 shot Pinot de Rais won the 167th running of the event. And while there have only been 7 World Equestrian Games, Britain's Charlotte Dujardin again proved she's dashing in dressage, winning 3 medals in Normandy, including 2 golds.
But the golden boy of snooker, Ronnie O'Sullivan, couldn't retain his World Championship crown in Sheffield as Mark Selby beat him 18-14 at the Crucible. And from the relatively calm atmosphere of bulls on bays to perhaps the most electrifying sport on earth. And from the season's outset, it was clear the Formula One world title would be decided between 2 men from 1 team.
A new era of Formula One is about to power its way into the history books. As Formula One men, but just known as we know it. Wow, this is amazing racing between the 2 Mercedes teammates. This is brilliant, brilliant stuff.
You can't touch this, Lewis. Home Grand Prix win.
Nico, hit me.
Before time is run out.
Lights out, away we go. A brilliant start from Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is the 2014 World Champion.
World champion! Oh my God! I can't believe it! Thank you so much, guys!
I can't really explain how much this means. It means even more than the first one. It feels like it's the first time, and I feel so blessed.
But while Formula One can bring great joy, the dangers of the sport again became all too apparent as Jules Bianchi of the Marussia team was left in a coma after a crash at the Japanese Grand Prix. 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher came out of his 8-month coma though, following a skiing accident over Christmas 2013.
And while Schumacher's sport of Formula One recently made history with the inaugural Sochi Grand Prix in Russia, it wasn't the only major event for the coastal resort, because in February the world of winter sport arrived for the Olympics. And while there was controversy and concern in the lead-up, the Games passed without incident. Yet British short track speed skater Elise Christie's Games were full of incident. An expected medalist, she was disqualified in all 3 of her events. But there was success for other Team GB members, including a silver and bronze in curling and a first ever medal on snow. A bronze for Jenny Jones in the captivating snowboard slopestyle.
Jenny Jones doing it for Great Britain!
But what Great Britain wanted was a gold, and one woman would make it happen.
Come on, Lizzie, keep it together, keep calm.
She hit that hard on the left-hand side, it doesn't matter. Lizzie Yardle is the Olympic champion. Oh my goodness, that is brilliant.
I knew that I could do it. If I put in the hard work and the dedication, I could do it, and I have. I'm just so chuffed. I'm Olympic champion.
And there was more success in the Winter Paralympics as Britain won its first ever gold. Kelly Gallagher and her guide Charlotte Evans took the prize in the visually impaired Super G.
And after their golden performance, Gallagher and Evans made the top 10 of the Sports Personality of the Year award, along with the likes of gymnast Max Whitlock and Rory McIlroy. But there could only be one winner.
Lewis Hamilton.
So, fireworks in 2014 for Lewis Hamilton then, but can he continue his dominance of F1 in 2015?
There's that and much more to look forward to in the coming year, including Rugby and Cricket World Cups. But for now, thanks for watching the 2014 Year in Sport.
And we'll see you in 12 months' time. Goodbye.